Welcome back to Elevate from Burnout to Bliss. I'm Reggie.
And I'm Ebony.
And each week we help you navigate your journey from professional fatigue to living a life fueled by purpose, passion, and financial freedom.
Today's episode is all about opportunity. If you're feeling stuck in your current career or unsure about your next step, this episode is your roadmap. We're diving into the hottest emerging careers and investment opportunities reshaping today's economy. In other words, where the dollar's at.
That's exactly right. Whether you're looking to make a full pivot or build something on the side, now is the time to explore what's actually out there. And we've got the insight to help you get started.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So guys, we're really excited today about this episode. You know, we talk a lot on this podcast about, breaking free, doing something different, maybe doing something on the side. We talked about that on the previous episode, or even just pivoting and starting a new business altogether. But Ebony and I got to just really thinking about it, like, you know what? It's important for people to know where the money is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So so what we did, I just say it like this, in preparation for this particular episode, we looked at some of the hottest careers out there right now. And
hottest businesses and
absolutely,
industries.
that most people may not know about.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot preparing for this, and I'm very eager to share it.
I definitely did. So let's start with careers. The economy is shifting so fast.
It is.
And with that shift, there are careers that did not exist a few years ago.
Absolutely. Well, I started off right there. At the top of that list, of course, is going to be AI.
Of course.
And it's a lot. When we say AI, that's a very broad term. Mm-hmm. And it's getting broader each day. So when I looked at it, one of the first things I saw was something called a prompt engineer.
What's a prompt engineer?
Prompt engineering, this is coding in English, right?
Okay.
So you know how most of us are familiar today with ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. And you kind of tell ChatGPT what you're looking for, and it can spit out very, very good. If you haven't used it, I suggest everybody try it. But way beyond what Chat can do, there are applications in AI that can, for instance, a physician. A physician can put in a patient's symptoms and what they're dealing with, and AI can give a very good diagnosis, but it has to have the right prompts. It got to have the right language. Mm-hmm. So between the general public user and the desired outcome, there's a position now for a prompt engineer that can help put that English into the exact prompts that the AI needs to spit out the best result, if you will.
Man, that's interesting. So if you've worked with ChatGPT or other AI where you had to put in prompts, you may put in something and not get exactly what you're looking for. So a prompt engineer, they study the right things to put into the prompt to get the desired outcome.
To get the desired outcome. And they're able to do it way better than a novice can, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a new budding career that's out there now that, according to ZipRecruiter, right now they can make anywhere between $95,000 and $175,000 a year just feeding the correct information.
Wow.
It's called prompt engineer, guys. If that's something you're interested in, or it maybe spark your children, maybe you got we just finished graduation season. Maybe your kid's going off to college or what have you. This is something I would say, hey, tell them to at least give it a look.
Right. That's something they could even do during college.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, they use creativity plus trial and error to create a collection of input text. They become skilled at taking what the regular person wants and putting it in a language where the AI technology can give the result that you're looking for.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing in AI right now, another career that's come up is the AI consultant.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, AI ethics consultant. Ethics consultant. And they create basically the framework, the ethical framework around AI policies, guidelines, development, and things like that. You know, they engage with, because I'm going to tell you, as I started to learn and, more about AI and what it could do, the first time, I'll say it like this, the first time I used ChatGPT, it was a little scary. Because I was like, man, this thing is pretty doggone. And that was the free version.
Right.
It's a little scary just seeing what the computer could come up with, right?
And that it remembers.
And it builds off of what you put in last. It's amazing. And I use the paid version now, but from my understanding, there are some out there way better than Chat, and I'm like, I don't see how you get much better than this, but anyway, because of what these systems can do, people recognize there's an ethical issue involved, right? Mm-hmm. So an ethical consultant, what that person does is act as a go-between between the public, understanding their concerns and addressing those concerns, and basically helping the users to become more integrated, technology become more integrated in our lives. We can all become more comfortable with it, and really somebody to help this thing not turn into 1984 Terminator. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the movie I always reference when I think about this stuff, man. It's like Skynet becoming self-aware. Great franchise. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you do. Great movie franchise.
Or like iRobot.
Yeah, like iRobot. Yeah, that was a good one too.
That was. But
another one, so there's two I've given you that just dealing with AI. The first one being the what did I just say? The first one being the prompt engineer.
The prompt engineer.
AI ethics consultant. And then here's another really hot career, machine learning ops specialist.
Okay, what is that?
Basically, in a nutshell, a person that's trained in helping machines learn. Again, to me, it's taking us right down to Skynet. But basically, what these people do, they take machine learning models developed by data scientists and ensure they are deployed smoothly and reliable into production environments. Basically, they're taking data to help machines learn. This is a new career. This is a new field people can go into, and it's very, very hot right now.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely a real thing. Matter of fact, they make an average right now of $128,000 a year.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. It's out there, people doing it, and
I've never heard of that job. Again,
when I think about these movies, I think we're living in a time now where sci-fi is becoming more and more real. And the things that we thought only existed in Hollywood, like they right there now. So, but anyway, this is 3 careers that's out, that again, people, young and old, most of our listeners are in their 40s and 50s, don't let the technology scare you. Your mind still works. Your mind's still strong. You can still grasp these new concepts of what's out there. But this is just something to think about, guys. And all of these are 6 figures and up.
Wow.
All of these are.
Wow, man, those are some good ones. So another big one is social media consulting.
Okay.
Small businesses, churches, nonprofits, individuals who are trying to brand themselves, they all need social media. And they're all using social media. So there's a profession for someone to help with all of that.
Yep.
And if you've got a knack for storytelling, this is a perfect either side hustle or career for you.
And I'm assuming now this is not just somebody who's showing you how to post and boost.
No. And just because you have a Facebook page or an IG page does not mean that this is what you know how to do.
Can I say something on that? What I've learned is that just because you may have 5,000 friends or 6,000 followers or 10,000 followers, when you put up a post, it doesn't mean that all those people see it.
At all.
Unless you know how to finagle that algorithm and do all the other stuff that I'm sure this social media consultant can tell you how to do. Do not mistake all those followers for people receiving your message.
Or show you how to do or do for you. So if you're interested in being a social media consultant, I have 2 pieces of advice for you. One, study your craft. Just because you have a social media page does not mean that you know how to optimize social media. It's a science. And you have to learn how to increase awareness and profits for your business.
Right.
The second thing is pick a specific niche. So instead of saying, I'm going to be your social media consultant for everybody, niche down, pick an industry and a platform. And go crazy learning absolutely everything you can about that industry and that platform, and then market yourself as a social media consultant for that.
Okay, so
for example,
go ahead. Okay,
you may decide that you want to be a social media consultant for real estate agents using Instagram.
Yeah, I was thinking real estate.
And that's your baby. That's all you know. If somebody wants to do restaurants or workout facilities, leave that to them.
Okay.
And learn everything you can about the real estate industry and Instagram. and how to optimize awareness and profit on that platform, and people will seek you out for business.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think because oftentimes the thought process is, well, if I can just post it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever I'm doing, just post it across all the platforms, and now I'm done.
And they all work different. They all have different algorithms. So what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another.
And they also all have different cultures on the platform. So you will look out of place sometime posting something on LinkedIn that you posted on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, so if you don't have someone to help you navigate that, you can look kind of weird.
Right, don't post what you ate on LinkedIn.
And I'll say this, if anybody's listening that's actively doing it, and I mean really know what you're doing, come talk to us at P3 Financial Group, because this is not seriously. This is something I want done. I know I just post here and there. This is not my area of expertise,
and definitely not mine.
No. So, but I would love to sit down and explore how we can make this work for our own company.
So, what are some others?
Well, cybersecurity continues to be a major one.
That is a big one.
I remember when I was. I think it was Bernard I talked to. Good, most of y'all heard me talk about Bernard before. I called Bernard, said, "Dog, tell me more about cybersecurity. Why is it in such high demand? Is it something I should tell the girls to look at?" And he explained it to me like this. He said, "Think about this. Every website you go to every day, whether that's your banking app or you check in something on, dealing with your business, or any site, any application you go to every day, there are people trying to get into it, to hack data." He said, "I don't care what site it is, there's people trying to hack and steal data from there. Companies have to pay a lot of money to keep these people out."
So if their full-time job is trying to hack those sites, then companies have to have someone whose full-time job is to prevent them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So whether you're into ethical hacking, policy, infrastructure, there's a lane for you in cybersecurity. And I'm telling you, I have seen what some of these young people are coming out of school making. And I only say young people because that's who I've seen, that's who I've worked with in this space. And I mean, they making grown folk money.
My brother-in-law and nephew are both in cybersecurity.
Yes, and it is amazing. And what I've noticed also, typically people in this space have an easier time having three full-time jobs, in what it is they're doing and making serious, crazy money.
Because I would imagine a lot of the work is remote.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, just throwing that out there, y'all. That's something to think about, cybersecurity.
Man, that's a good one. Some other paths that we love. Have you ever heard of fractional executives?
No.
Okay. So if you've never heard of a fractional executive, it is a person who has executive level experience, like a CFO or a CEO, but instead of working for one company, they spend a fraction of their time working for other companies, thus a fractional executive.
Okay, break it down for me.
So I'm a COO.
Okay.
I still want to leverage my opportunities, but I want the flexibility to be able to work when I want to or have a schedule. I don't necessarily want to do that full time. Okay. So I can contract with ABC company over here and offer those services for a fraction of the time. So I still get to use my skills. ABC company gets my expertise in their budget.
Gotcha.
And then I may go do that with XYZ company. Okay. And then there are also companies that are set up that hire fractional executives.
So in that, hold on, excuse me one second. So in that first example, you were directly directly contracting out your services directly.
Directly,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that, like I said, that small business doesn't have the salary commitment of having someone on full time. Right. But they still get the help and the expertise that they need. Wow, so that's one area. But another area is that there are companies that hire executive level employees, and then they are account execs for. So this company goes out and gets a whole bunch of small business clients, and then I hire a fractional CFO, and that fractional CFO is assigned to maybe 5 clients.
Well, that's kind of how the accounting company that you were with back in the day. I can't think of that name.
I can't think of the name of it either.
But I remember accounting professionals worked for that company, and then they stationed you at different at their client's company. I remember that.
Now most of that work is remote.
Oh.
So it's a win-win for everybody. And if that's something you're interested in, I see job postings on LinkedIn all the time for fractional executives. So definitely start there if it's something that you're interested in. Okay.
So what about what some other things that you saw as you were researching for this?
A new one was remote work infrastructure engineer. That is a mouthful.
Okay. Remote work infrastructure engineer.
Yes.
Okay.
So what this person does is they figure out how to leverage tools and technology in order for a company to continue to have remote staff. Huh. So a lot of companies, especially after COVID.
Helping companies go remote?
Helping companies go remote and all of the support that's needed when you have a remote staff. So it's the tools, the platforms, the strategies. It's an IT role, but it's more specific to the challenges of creating efficiency with remote workers.
So this is something I'm sure that was born directly out of the pandemic.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Isn't that something that just not 5 years ago didn't even exist?
Didn't exist.
But now it's a whole career and a growing career.
Even things like data storage and network access.
Right.
If we're working remotely, we can't share the same file cabinet.
Right.
And I can go pull this document and you can pull that document. We have to think about cloud storage and how are you going to access it, how to make it secure when you may be in Wyoming and I'm in California. So that was another one. Another one I found was a mental health tech. Okay. And I was like, okay, what's a mental health tech? But what I learned in my research is that the mental health industry is a $300 billion industry, billion with a B.
Right.
And outside of the traditional roles like a psychologist or psychiatrist, there's all kind of support roles. And so a mental health tech, they provide direct patient care, but they're under the management of nurses and doctors. Okay. And that industry is growing because today we are more aware of our mental health and self-care from a preventative and maintenance standpoint versus how it used to be when you would just see someone when you needed something fixed.
Gotcha.
For example.
Okay, so I mean, it's a lot of good careers out there. These are some of the hot ones that jumped out at us. So as far as careers go, guys, if you're looking for something new, something challenging, something exciting, we just gave you a very good list you can build off of. When we get back, we're going to look at some exciting investment opportunities that can help you elevate as well. Stay with us, and we'll be right back after these messages. We are back. So, guys, you are on here with Ebony and Reginald Clark, and today we're talking about where's the money, where the dollar's at, right? So, on this podcast a lot, we talk about helping people break free, getting to that next level, elevating their lives. Well, we thought it would be so important to understand where are the next opportunities? Where do the opportunities lie? So many times, I know throughout my life, so many times I felt like I was late to the party. I'd see a particular opportunity, decide to explore it, maybe even put money in it, and then only to find out most of the money's already been made.
It's already peaked.
By the time it becomes mainstream news, the real money has been made. So what we're giving you today is rather a list of career opportunities that's still on the upswing, doing very well now, but still way more room to go. But now in this second segment, we're about to look at some investment opportunities that exist that most people may not know about just yet.
That's right, because building a new career is powerful, but building wealth alongside of it is next level.
That's the next level, and that's where we all want to get to eventually. So when I looked at, again, some investment opportunities that I think are next level, one of the first ones that jumped out at me, and I've been hearing about this a little bit, but I'm starting to hear about it more, and that's investing in data centers.
Okay.
In data centers. Now, data centers are the invisible backbone of the internet, right? So if you imagine all the infrastructure under the streets and stuff to bring your electricity, your water and all that stuff, that's what a data center is to the internet. It's the backbone. And think about it. We just talked about what AI is doing. What AI is booming. All of that requires data. It all requires data. So the data center is the center, it's the physical structure where all of everything is stored, managed, all the computing infrastructure, the servers, the storage system, the networking equipment. It's an all centralized hub right there in that data center. So today what's happening is they just can't get enough of them up. Companies like Google own their own data centers, but other companies investors are building data centers, and then so this is how the money is made. They're building data centers, just really big warehouse structures, putting all the necessary equipment in it, and then leasing it to companies that need the data.
So very similar to with us being in Memphis, we're a logistics hub.
Correct.
So very similar to all of the warehouses that we see here.
Right.
And then companies will lease space in the warehouses so that they can get their product out.
Absolutely.
In a timely fashion.
You're 100% correct. And to your point, you take a company like Netflix. So every time you stream a movie, you download a song, you check out a YouTube video, whatever you're doing on the internet, it's coming from a data center, right? Mm-hmm. So you take a company like Netflix, where there's not a central spot like in the middle of the United States where Netflix keep all the movies. They don't do that. Kind of like distribution center, they have data centers throughout, wherever they need them to be, and the one you're pulling from is the one closest to you. That's how they're able to get the info to you in what seems like almost instantaneously.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, man.
Yeah.
So again, these data, so people are investing in these centers, building them, leasing out the usage of them to larger corporations, to major corporations. So a lot of money being made right there. Again, they can't get enough of them up. You may be wondering how to participate. You can buy stock in them. There's some REITs that specifically target data centers, ETFs, and you can also buy partnership positions in it. Now, and let me be careful because I am an investment advisor. Anything I say today is not to be considered as personal investment advice.
This is just general information.
General information to the general public. I strongly encourage you to do your own due diligence, make an informed decision, talk to your financial professional. But just know this is so the way it was explained to me was data is the new gold, right? And data centers house the gold. So it's a good place to invest. Again, they can't get enough of them up.
Interesting. Man, that's really interesting. I even think about when you go on the internet and you do a speed test for your internet.
Exactly.
It'll tell you where the information is coming from.
Yeah, it will.
And it'll show you the speed based on different places. So it just reminded me of that when you were talking about the data centers being in different places.
Right.
And you're going to pull from the one that's closest.
You're pulling from the one closest.
Very, very interesting. I'm going to do some more research on that.
Yep.
So another hot industry is clean energy.
Okay.
So
this has always interested me.
It interests me too. So solar, wind, EV vehicles, the infrastructure, all of that. So clean energy investments are on the rise globally. And in 2024, it hit $2 trillion with a T.
Jeez whiz.
For the very first time. So we're talking, and it's because of the concern of climate change, the environment, global warming. All of those things are sparking a renewed interest in clean energy. The leading sector of clean energy is solar power, with wind and EV vehicles, electric vehicles being second and third.
Okay.
Some other sectors include renewable energy like hydro energy, as well as geothermal and energy storage. Yeah. So if we're creating all of this renewable energy, we still have to store it before it gets used. Before researching this, I didn't think about the fact that when the energy isn't being necessarily used as soon as you create it, so you have to have energy storage.
So I remember one time Tesla, and I don't know whatever happened with that, with the Tesla battery for the homes.
Yeah.
I remember the idea was that you would pull solar energy, and then you store the energy in these batteries, and then you would use the energy from the batteries, if I remember that right.
It was similar to that. I'm not sure whatever happened to that, but yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Another one that I didn't think about was retrofitting buildings. to be more energy efficient. So if the building was built 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it's not going to be energy efficient. So there's a whole industry and a whole sector in just retrofitting old buildings to become energy efficient.
And these are companies that you can invest in.
Yeah. So you can invest in energy like passively through stocks and ETFs and bonds. There are also things called green bonds. So just kind of similar to municipal bonds, it's a debt instrument that goes toward clean energy projects.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing. And again, that's always been that, and for some reason I don't know why I've always been intrigued by companies that do ocean cleanup.
Yeah.
That's always been a pet project of mine. And I'm going to start giving to some of those nonprofits that do that. But anyway, the clean energy thing has always been intriguing to me.
And you can also invest in solar and wind farms. So through other investment vehicles like ETFs or mutual funds, or directly.
Right. Okay. And again, this is something that's hot. It's not going down. It's getting bigger. And as you were explaining that, all I could think about. Well, part of what I was thinking about was the political aspects of it. How some people want to say, it's not real, but it's absolutely real, and it's absolutely a great place to, look at some investment opportunities.
It is. When we were out here where we live, you see a lot of solar farms, but remember when we went out west, we saw all those wind farms.
That's exactly right.
And it was really interesting to see. And it may be a farm with cows and other farm animals, but then there's these huge wind turbines on them as well.
Yep.
So just interesting.
Very much so. So another area, guys, of that is, absolutely exploding with no end in sight to make to place some investment dollars is in the health and wellness space.
Yes.
And we're talking about, I want you to think like digital platforms, things like telehealth and doctors on demand, these sort of things, wearable tech, things like...
What's wearable tech?
Wearable tech is like a Fitbit.
Got it.
Like
Okay.
things that monitor movement. They're coming. New ones are coming online every day. So companies that are making these things, they're making money. They're making money. So identifying some of these companies and investing in some of these companies could be a really, really good move. Even the supplement part of the health and wellness industry. Right now, $179 billion with a B.
Gee whiz.
That's the size of that industry, and by 2026. It's expected to be around $241 billion. I mean, that is absolutely... And you were telling me about, what's it called, Black Girl
Vitamins.
Girl Vitamins. Now, how long has that been out?
I don't know how long it's been out, but I will say for the last maybe 3 months, they have been on this crazy marketing kick on social media.
Okay.
But and it's a whole vitamin supplement line. So it's not just one type of vitamin. So vitamins for various needs, but it's part of the supplement industry.
And it up.
Seems to be doing very well.
Wow. Okay, so you got anything else on your radar as far as investment opportunities?
I do. 2 more.
Okay.
Agritech. So agritech is combining technology with agriculture.
Okay.
And the goal is to be able to farm smarter. So it's using data analysis. It may be using
Going back to the data again.
Right, robotics and automation.
Going back to the machine learning again.
Right. Vertical farming, all of this information and all of these strategies to analyze crops, to increase crop yields. They want to minimize the impact on the environment, as well as increase the overall supply chain. So it's just combining technology with agriculture to be more efficient.
Okay.
And then another one is space economy.
Okay.
People are trying to go to space more. I mean, like individuals, non-astronauts are going to space. So with that, that's a whole industry. You need the spaceships, you need satellites, you need logistics, tourism. It all seems like sci-fi, but it's happening, and it's an industry.
And it's attracting some serious investment dollars.
It is.
Now, they never have to worry about me booking a seat. But
me neither.
But again, I have been. That one I've been looking at with the amount of money pouring into there. It's crazy. Ebony, before we move on, I want to jump back to the agritech because that's interesting. Now, one thing you didn't tell us was what are some ways people they say, hey, this kind of speaks to me. How can they invest in that?
So one way is investing in like early stage startups as a venture capitalist, a VC. So you have found the startup, you're investing directly with them. Of course, there's stocks, bonds, ETFs, and crowdfunding, but there's also something called farmland investment platforms, which I thought was really interesting. So you're investing directly in farmland, but through an online marketplace.
Now, that's very interesting.
And in our community, farming is becoming more and more popular.
It is.
One of my clients,
Again,
one of my clients has some farmland that she inherited in Arkansas, and she is on the track of making that a full-fledged farm.
Man, that's amazing. That's good stuff. Well, one thing I want to say, guys, as we've been given information on how to invest, different ways to get involved in some of these investments, for a couple of things. One, there are websites that will help you vet out legitimate, especially when you talk about crowdfunding or venture capitalist opportunities. They will help you vet out legitimate opportunities, okay? So that's one thing. Two, as you explore some of these investments, you're going to see some pretty hefty price tags on some of these opportunities to get involved. So, but I don't want you to be deterred by that. Matter of fact, I want to give you a story that will help explain this the best way I can. And I call this understanding the difference between seed and harvest.
Okay.
All right. Understanding the difference between seed and harvesting investing. Now, to illustrate this, I'm going to have to bring up somebody that's not real popular right now. But the lack of his popularity does not change the facts on what he was able to do from an investing and a historical perspective. And that person is Elon Musk. Now, again, I'm sharing this story, doesn't mean I'm a fan, but I am a fan of what he was able to do as it relates to this. So many people don't know, or many people never ask the question, where did Elon Musk get his money from? All right, so back in 1999, Elon Musk was a co-founder of PayPal. All right, he didn't start it by himself. He had a partner with it. They started in 1999. Well, they actually sold PayPal to eBay in 2002. All right? Now, Elon's proceeds from that sale was $175.8 million.
Okay.
All right. Now, think about that. $175 million. Now, here's the decision time. For some people, that's the harvest, right?
Right.
My ship has come in. Find me at the nearest beach. I'm good, right? In Elon's mind, now he had some more seed money. So what some people would have recognized as the harvest, he recognized as seed. He took a portion of that money, and that's what he bought Tesla with, because he didn't start Tesla. Most people think he started.
Right. A lot of people think he started Tesla.
He did not start it. He bought Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City. That was the seed money to allow him to go bigger.
And now he's the billionaire.
Exactly. So I share that to say this, and that is, again, let's say, for instance, if there's an opportunity speaking to you, and maybe the buy-in is $500,000, $500,000, you may be like, well, I ain't got a $500,000 sitting around. Well, ask yourself, what smaller licks could I make? What smaller investments could I make that will total up to that?
That will yield that money.
Exactly, in bite sizes. So maybe you could buy a house and flip it. Maybe you make 50, 60 grand. All right, you do that a few more times. Now you got the seed money for the bigger investment.
For this bigger investment that can yield a bigger harvest.
There you go. So again, it's all about what you recognize as your seed versus your harvest. So you may not, he didn't have the $175 million off the rip to buy those things. But by selling that, and again, viewing PayPal money as the seed and not the harvest, he's been able to do some different stuff. So
you have to be disciplined to view $175 million as seed.
You got to be very disciplined, guys. So anyway, just wanted to share that with you all. Stay with us through the break. We'll be right back. And remember, it's time to elevate.
Back. This is Elevate Podcast with Reggie and Ebony Clark, and today we are talking about exploring up and coming opportunities in today's economy. Where the dollar's at. We've already talked about careers, exploding careers. We've talked about exploding industries. Yep. So now, how do you actually step into these opportunities without quitting your job tomorrow?
Well, that's a great question because, you can't just, most of us can't just up and stop what we're doing and say, okay, I'm about to invest, untold amount of money to one of these opportunities. So here's my advice, what I tell people. The way you use the best use of your earned income is to use it to buy assets that produce income. Most people never do that, right? Most people take their earned income and go buy liabilities. Most of them buy things that shine, things that move, and things that, make people clap and all that stuff. Assets are typically boring. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because if you take the money, if again, I just talked about in the last segment how there could be steps to this. But if you have assets that produce income, that's going to start to free you up from a monetary perspective, and you can use that money. Maybe you can sell the asset at an appreciated price. You can take that to invest in some of these opportunities. Maybe you can borrow against it. I really love that one. Borrowing against the asset, use that to invest in some of these opportunities. But the way you do it, you have to, first of all, take control of the income that you have. And then with that discipline, you will find the opportunity, you'll find the money you need to invest in some of these opportunities that we shared today.
Wow. That's good advice.
Yeah.
And then when you're trying to decide what opportunity, think about what piques your interest.
Yeah.
So when you're just sitting around or pulling up something on TV or on YouTube, what are the things that you gravitate to, or what do you look at? And that is probably what your interest is. Because whatever you invest in or put your time into, you want to be passionate about it.
Right.
So don't just pick something because of the money. Pick something because of the money and your interest in it.
That's exactly right. One more thing that we didn't say this earlier, but I want to throw this in here now. So many of these, the way the economy is set up today, untold amount of money can be made today without degrees. Now, I am 100% still a fan of formal education.
Me too.
I think matter of fact, I know it has a place. It has its place. But again, some of the stuff you're talking about certifications can get you through the door. It doesn't take a 4-year degree. So I think, and I think this will be, maybe one day we'll have a segment called Elevate Through Education. And I just believe that the place for college education, I think, is still out there because I think it teaches you how to learn.
It does.
Teaches how to problem solve, teaches a lot of good stuff. And you learn a lot of stuff in college that, you just can't quite get anywhere else. But as it relates to some of the stuff we're talking about today, you don't necessarily have to go back to a traditional school to be able to get your foot in the door from an education perspective.
Right. There are free courses on Coursera. You can always go to YouTube. We laugh and call it YouTube University.
Right.
Because that's the go-to whenever you want to know something. You go to YouTube. There are also certifications. I know Google has certifications, Microsoft, things like LinkedIn Learning.
Right.
There are all these different avenues for you to get more information to break into a field that you may not have previously been in.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, there's our own Elevated Advanced Financial Training course, which we're going to start when? We're
going to bring that back in the fall. We were initially going to bring it back in the spring. However, life just happens. We got really busy, and it just the timing wasn't right. But we're going to bring it back. And for you all that don't know, we did, which really gave birth to the podcast.
It did.
But we have an advanced virtual training program where we have the instructors that taught that advanced training program over a 12 course.
6 month, 12 course. 6
month, 12 courses. These were people that whatever they taught, they did it for a living. So we had real estate investors. We had government people telling us how to get government contracts. We had bankers. All this, really a full, well-rounded program that gave people insight and expertise to break in some of these things that we're talking about today. Matter of fact, I just talked to one of the gentlemen that completed the course. He's already got his first house, and he's on to the next one. So it was a very good course. And again, it will be coming back in the fall. Go ahead. One
of my favorite things about the course is that it's a cohort.
Right.
So you're going through the course over that 6 month period of time with the same people.
Absolutely.
And by the end of the course, you all have learned each other, know each other, and able to share ideas and do business together. It was just a great course.
It was. And one of the main things one of the biggest pieces of feedback I got from one of the participants was how much it stretched his vision. and his thinking. What he shared with me was that, and you spoke to the cohort part of it, that he just wasn't around the right people. Y'all, I talk about this all the time. It matters so much who you surround yourself with. And again, as you're looking at some of these opportunities, think big.
Think huge.
Think huge. Don't, if it's something, again, if the buy-in is way more than what you think you can do right now, don't say, I can't afford that. Ask yourself, how can I afford that? And then maybe spend 30 minutes, just you and a pen and a pad, writing down all the ideas that come to your mind, put at the top of the pad, how can I afford X, whatever X is? And then just let your mind go free for 30 minutes. Just write that. Don't filter it at all. Just write down every idea you come up with. And I can promise you, there are going to be 2 or 3 things on that list when you're done that really have some merit to it. And you'll be like, you know what, that just might work. And
dreams are free. Like, dreams cost $0. So why would we limit our dreams?
I don't understand why people do that.
You literally can come up with anything, and the world itself will tell you enough things that you can't do. So don't let your mind tell you.
Right.
Let the world tell you, and then you can reject that. But let your mind be free to think of countless possibilities. Don't limit your dreams.
Right. Typically what happens is life usually just beats the imagination right out of us. And life tells come back to reality, that sort of thing. But that's one of the beauties of having children around. Children can remind you how to think, how to dream, and how to, fantasize. And, I hope no one's one of those parents out there that just sucks the life and the dreams and the vivid imagination.
I hope not.
Your kid got a imaginary friend, man, let them run with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless it's getting super creepy or weird. But other than that, let it go, man. But again, like Eb said, dream big. Big dreams don't cost anything. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself.
Funny story. When our youngest daughter was little, her imaginary friend was Jesus.
I remember
So she would have a seat at the table for Jesus. Jesus was her buddy.
He was. I remember one day she asked my mother, her grandmother, if Jesus had any panties on.
No, if he wore panties.
He wore panties, yeah. Yeah, that was a friend. But anyway, yeah. So guys, you want to, go for it, man. Because again, we at a time, I said this before as well, that things are different. The economy is different. Society is different. The biggest shift that's happening, as a matter of fact, I said this in, I think maybe the last episode, is that we're in a time now where it's going to be incumbent upon everybody to be more self-sufficient. We cannot rely on the institutions to kind of prop us up. We can't rely on the government. We can't rely on anything. But you need to put if you're listening to this, as many issues as this country has. If you're listening to this in the United States right now, you're in a place where, outside of all the political noise and all the other noise, it's still a lot of opportunity here. But so many of us just put it on autopilot and just let life go where it wants to take you, as opposed to getting in the driver's seat and making something happen. Nothing just happens. You have to make it happen. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream, man. You got to get off your butt and make something happen.
And don't go at it alone. Like, there are Facebook groups, LinkedIn communities, local meetups, opportunities, love companies.
Yes.
So find someone with like interests, and you all can form a partnership or even just bounce ideas off of each other.
Absolutely.
To make it happen.
And the universe loves speed. And I would say this, to Ebony's point, we just recently formed a group, another group, with some people. We're exploring opportunities, business opportunities, inside and outside. Really, these are outside of real estate. So we're not just telling you all what to do or giving you advice on what to do. We're actually doing it. We are. So before we close out, let's recap exactly what we hit today. So basically, y'all, as I mentioned, we wanted to find out the hottest places where the money is on the career side, as well as in investment opportunities. And in the career, we talked about, 3 very, very exploding careers in AI. We looked at cybersecurity, and we looked at the health and wellness space.
Mm-hmm. We also talked about investing sectors like clean energy and data centers.
Yep, and we looked at how to turn your curiosity into real, tangible opportunities.
So if you're ready to pivot from burnout to bliss, then I think we gave you several next moves in this episode.
That's right. Remember, the future belongs to those who are adaptable.
And we're here to walk it with you. Oh, I remember one more thing that we talked about I want to get into before we get off, about subscription lifestyle. Oh, yeah, that's a big thing, man. Subscription lifestyle. Y'all need to check that out if you haven't already. This is a concept that's in the early stages. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's really not a concept. This is actual reality, and I can prove it talking about software. Remember back in the day when you could buy... QuickBooks. Okay, give me QuickBooks. Give me another software. Everybody don't use QuickBooks like you. Give me another software. One of the tax softwares or something. I don't know. QuickBooks. Whatever. Let's go with QuickBooks. You could buy software. Well, Microsoft Office. Good example.
Microsoft Office. Remember, you could buy Microsoft Office. Well, today you just pay a subscription to it. Mm-hmm. Right. The time is coming. Y'all can remember I said this. The time is coming where the wealthy will own things, mm-hmm. and the non-wealthy would just pay a subscription to use those things. I'm telling you, there's going to come a time where if you want to live in a luxury apartment and drive the latest car or whatever, you would just pay a subscription to do that. For however long you can do it. You won't own it. You'll never own it. You won't build up any equity in the house or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about renting or leasing. I'm just talking about just pure subscription, a lifestyle based off subscription.
Wow.
It's coming. They've already introduced it in form of software. It's a lot of other stuff that's going this way as well. And as I see this trend develop, I've asked myself, what side do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the person that's constantly pay to use
the subscription fee, the monthly fee? The monthly fee, or do you want to be the one receiving the fee? Right. So that's something to keep your eye on, and that's something to get in front of, even with real estate. Just think right now, if you have a home, I just want to paint a picture. Let's say you got a home, a nice home, and maybe you got a nice car, right? And especially with people being so mobile these days as far as where they work, you could charge a person X amount of dollars per month to just move into your fully furnished house. This is a second house, and drive your car, right? And they just pay you a monthly fee just for doing this. Because they said they wanted to be in Memphis for 60 days and they work remote. So they may spend the next month in Mexico and then they may come back and want to go to L.A. Exactly. And they benefit because they're not tied down to leases or mortgage or anything like that, but they can still have the lifestyle that they want. They can have the lifestyle they want without all the commitments. But the commitments will be borne by the owners. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's interesting. It's very interesting, and I'm telling y'all, it's coming. And I would decide now which side of that I want to be on because it's going to make somebody billions of dollars. Wow. So as we sign off, if you enjoyed today's episode, please share with a friend. Yeah, please share with a friend. Hopefully this information benefited you, and it can benefit them as well. Okay. And be sure to tune in next week. You want to give them how to reach you? Yeah, so if you want to reach me, you can catch me at the office at 901-209-4015. That's here at P3 Financial Group. That's our financial planning company where we do taxes, financial planning, investing, all those good things. Yep. And you can also catch me on social media. Let's see. The Money Jedi. The Money Jedi. And I think it's on Instagram and TikTok at the THE Money Jedi. And I'm on all social media channels at Eb the Advisor, EBTHEADVISOR. And then you can find this podcast on YouTube at Elevate Now Podcast. All right, real quick before we get off here, just to let you guys know, we'll also have an upcoming networking event for business owners that we'll be letting you all know about very soon. Yes. All right, guys, so we're about to get out of your way. Remember, it's time to elevate.
Today's episode is sponsored by P3 Financial Group, where we enrich the lives of our clients by helping them plan, protect, and prosper. Call P3 for all your tax and financial planning needs at 901-209-4015. That's 901-209-4015.
The Elevate podcast is now accepting sponsors. That means you can get your brand heard by a growing community of go-getters, creatives, and purpose-driven listeners right here on the show. Whether it's a product shout-out, an ad spot, or a custom collaboration, we've got options for you. Want in? Hit us up at elevatenowtraining.com. Let's elevate together.